Friends, welcome back. This is Wesley with the.finance. We're going to jump into a question that I've seen a lot, just like I said, browsing the internet. It's about closing credit cards and consolidating loans and things like that. So we're going to read off the situation, give you guys a second to develop your own thoughts, and then kind of dive right in. So this is... Here's the scenario. The title of this post on Reddit: is it a smart idea to close a credit card account so I can get a 0% APR and fixed monthly payment? Hello, I have two credit cards that I can't seem to keep up with. An Amazon credit card with $1,800 on it and a Care credit card with $800 on it. Since I'm struggling to keep up the payments on them, I was given the option to close the accounts in exchange for a 0% APR and a fixed monthly payment until I pay them off. Would this be a good step to take? Thank you in advance. So, take a second to think about that while I drink my coffee. Okay. This is super common. There are so many companies that specialize in credit card consolidation, debt relief, just things like that. There are a couple things that stand out to me. One, these balances are not super high. So $1,800 and $800 is a total of $2,600. I would suspect this person doesn't make a super high income based on, quote, not being able to keep up with it, which is a problem you hear a lot. So I've probably reiterated this in almost every video that I've made so far, but you will find that in America, or in any country, but I'll just use America. In America, there is a very low hesitancy to take things that are available to you even if you can't afford them. Examples from the last video include the car loan situation, mortgages not as much, but still to some extent, and then credit cards are a big one. So there is this profound illusion that you're doing yourself a favor by getting a credit card because of the cash back or your benefits or 6% back at grocery stores or whatever. That's crap. That's just total crap. Credit card companies are making an absolute killing because of that mindset, and it's been propagated. Like, I don't know where it came from. I think people are just really bad at financial literacy. Credit cards are a horrible sandpit, and this person kind of illustrates that. So, for example, your average credit card APR is like 20, probably 22%, 24%. Interest rates have gone up, and you have $1,800 of credit card debt in this. Well, you have $2,600. So we'll just call it $2,500 for the sake of simplicity. That means per year, if they don't use this credit card at all, and they're only paying on it, you're going to pay, $500 in fees and interest because of a payment. The value of that, whatever you purchased, was only $2,500. So you're essentially paying an extra $500 on something that may have only been worth $2,500, assuming you don't ever touch the credit card again. I say this to lead up into the discussion about whether or not they should take this loan, because most people don't operate this way. So most people who have credit cards don't stop using credit cards. So just as an example, you make your minimum monthly payment, which, by the way, is a horrible way to pay off credit cards. And then you immediately start spending whatever allowance that bought you, which most of the time is not very much. So if you have, like, this person, quote, can't keep up with it, those cards are probably maxed, right? So if you have a maxed out credit card and you pay the minimum monthly payment, you're really not affording yourself a lot of leeway as far as the credit limit goes, right? So you're paying a lot of interest, but you're not buying yourself, you're not like freeing up that credit. It's just paying the monthly interest on that plus a little bit of principal. And what ends up happening is that people find themselves in situations where they've used their credit card to live outside of their means, and then to sustain that lifestyle, they have to make their minimum monthly payments to avoid collections, but then they continue to use the credit card to sustain that lifestyle. So buying things they can't afford, or they're just so far in that they have to, they're getting eaten alive with these monthly payments that they have to put things on the credit card to, like I said, to make everything way out for them. And that is why they're so dangerous. So with all that in mind, you come back to the original question, should you take a 0% APR loan to just have a fixed monthly payment? Without knowing anything about the loan, I would say it depends. There is a really dangerous tendency with these types of things to, like I said, the way that this works is that if you're sitting on a max credit card, that credit card company is just making money on you, right? Every month they have a cash flow coming in because you're just paying them for this money they lent you at an astronomical rate. And then the company will come in and say, hey, we want a piece of this pie. We'll loan you the money to pay off through your credit cards, right? So now instead of 24%, we'll give you the money at 15% or 12% or 10%. You're still making them money, right? Because a lot of times there are finance fees, and then there are also interest, there's interest on that loan. And so they're kind of conceding. They're like, hey, we didn't give you the credit card, but screw those guys. We'll let you pay them off, and then we'll kind of take over from here and make a little bit of money from you as well. That's all well and good. And in theory, this should help you out, right? So your monthly payment may be lower. Your the amount you're paying on interest should be lower, and it should, in theory, like I said, it should in theory be a step in the right direction. What ends up happening in actuality is that most people who do this will consolidate those credit cards, pay them off, and then go back to using the credit card. And then when you do that, you are not only, you're going to end up back in the same position. So you're going to have credit cards that you can't keep up with. You're going to have a new monthly payment on a personal loan that you use to consolidate those credit cards. And then you're even further underwater than you were to begin with. So the reason I say it depends as far as answering this question is that if somebody takes these loans or takes this way out, so to speak, you have to examine why you're in that situation to begin with. Most of the time it's living above your means, and if that's the case, like, yes, you will theoretically be able to make the payment on that loan, but if you touch the credit cards again, you're in a worse position overall. And so most people, so your Dave Ramseys and your Caleb Hammers, will say that when you take this type of loan or you consolidate something, like, you need to take your credit cards physically and cut them so that you cannot use them. Because what will happen is that you will continue building this mountain of debt, living a lifestyle that you can't sustain. And the only thing that you're doing with this loan, you're not trying to get into a better place. You're just allowing yourself more leeway to kind of hang yourself, truthfully. And that needs to be the mindset when you look at these types of things is, with this minimum payment, am I going to be able to afford my rent, my car, whatever else, whatever expenses I have, and food without touching these credit cards? Because then you'll pay the debt off. And even then, you really want to pay the debt off quicker. So like if your credit card monthly payments were, I don't know, $1,000, or it's probably less than that. That's a lot of money. Say it was $300, and then your new monthly payment on your loan is going to be $180. You need to shoot to pay $300 a month on the loan, right? Because you were already making that work, especially if you weren't using the credit cards. You need to shoot for paying that off as quickly as possible, like you normally would, right? So that the consolidated loan is not an excuse to just pay the monthly payment on that or the minimum payment on that and then, putz around and spend all your money. Like, you need to aggressively attack debt always. And so when you get this leeway, you need to look at it and say, okay, I bought myself a little bit of breathing room, but one, I can't touch my credit cards. Two, I need to get rid of this ASAP. So most people don't do that, which is why most people are broke. So interesting situation. Been there personally. It's not great. It can, like I said, it can give you a little bit of breathing room. Sometimes it makes sense. Like I said, the average credit card debt is astronomical, and most people, for the sake of getting their share of the, slice of the pie, so to speak, will give you a bit of relief as long as you're current on your payments. But you have to be diligent to not find yourself in the same position. You need to examine and reflect and, avoid it. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, that whole thing. So.